Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Shutterbug Club. I'm your host, Sue, and we have a very special guest on today's podcast. This is Maisie. Go ahead and say hi.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. I'm so excited.
So, I'm super excited to talk with Maisie all about modeling. I started following her about a couple years ago on Instagram, and I feel like you just kind of showed up out of nowhere. I just started seeing you all over my feed. You were posting like a different creative photo shoot every single day. And I was like, who is this girl? I am seeing her everywhere. And she worked with so many photographers that I follow. And so I was just like, I have to know who this girl is because she is just, you can tell she's working hard and she wants to achieve something. So I'm super excited to talk with her and hear all about your modeling journey and the things that you've gone through to get where you are today. So why don't you go ahead and just introduce yourself, tell us about your life, and you can tell us about your modeling journey too.
Awesome. Well, first of all, thank you. That was so sweet. I like never hear people's perspective on that before. But I live in Utah, close to Salt Lake City area. I'm actually kind of new to it. I was born and raised in Illinois and then moved to Indiana like halfway through my life, and my family still lives there. But me and my husband moved here to Utah like 3.5 years ago, I want to say, and that's what really kind of jump started my modeling career because I had always wanted to model and I always tried in Indiana, but there wasn't quite the community for it there. Here is like a whole new world to me. I was like there's so many more opportunities, and I think it's because you have all the landscaping, you have all these studios, all these businesses, there's mountains, there's lakes, there's sand dunes, there's a pink lake, like you have
Yeah.
you have so many photo-esque like locations to go to, I guess.
I feel like
And
there's
so
also so many photographers in Utah, like a lot
so
of people to
many.
work with.
Absolutely. And I think that's because of the locations and the businesses, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So when you moved to Utah, you probably almost had to basically start over moving to a new place. What are some things you did to kind of get into modeling in Utah?
So, back in Indiana before I moved, I had this business where it was like a thrift account on Instagram. And it was such a like huge deal back in like 2020. But I would like stand apart on those accounts because I would like model my own drops and have themed drops. So basically I'd just be taking these like creative self-portraits and showcasing the clothing to sell. So that I did that for like 4 years, and that got me really comfortable in front of the camera. And so when I moved to Utah, I I still hadn't like met anybody yet, and I had no idea the community I was about to experience. But I don't know if you've heard of GG Pip. They're like a hat company based here in Utah. But they actually reached out to me. I don't know how they found my Instagram, but they reached out to me, and that was actually my very first paid booking I did.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's what started it. And then, I don't know, when I worked with them, they were just like taken back and being like, "You're a natural. Like, we love you. Like, you
Oh,
should talk to these people or like reach out to this brand." And that's what really got the ball rolling. And I
wow.
kind of snowballed from there.
That's awesome. So you would say you started your modeling career with self-portraits mostly, taking pictures
Yeah.
of your fashion.
Yeah, because what you want to do is build your portfolio kind of in a way, because that's like your resume as a model. And so I guess that's what benefited me in that situation. But I just didn't know what I was doing because I was just
Yeah.
blindly going.
So did you already know how to use a camera when you started taking self-portraits, or did you just know you wanted to do modeling and learn on the way?
When I was 12, my dad got like a DSLR camera, I guess, and I just kind of like stole it and I would photograph everything. And I decided I'm gonna start a photography business. And that's so
Oh,
like horrible to say because I don't know any of the like specifics. Like I don't understand the ISO, like any of that stuff.
Oh,
So
really?
like
Even with your
I always have it.
self-portraits?
No, yeah, I still don't. I even took a photography class and like quote unquote learned it, but I don't remember it all. I always have it set to automatic or manual. I can adjust the ISO, I guess, but I never know like typically you want like higher numbers when it's dark, right?
Yeah. But
Yeah,
you don't
that's
you
about
want to
all I
keep
know.
your eye Okay, you want to keep your ISO low usually, but yeah, that's really cool
Okay.
that you don't know a lot about photography because your self-portraits still are so cool. Do you edit them
Thank
yourself?
you. I do, yeah. I
Oh,
usually do
wow.
that in Lightroom.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so that just goes to show you don't have to know anything about photography to take self-portraits.
Fake it till you make it.
What would you say are some of the biggest struggles you faced in trying to become a model?
Oh man, there's quite a few. I mean, you have to, if you're gonna go in the industry, you have to have some sort of confidence and like self-love because, people are judging you based on your looks and booking you based on your looks. And I'm a pretty like petite model. I'm not tall and I love to do high fashion, which is very unfortunate that you usually have a minimum height requirement of like 5'8" and I'm 5'3", so that's pretty significant. So you have to make up for that if you can. I did a lot of like free runway shows to in order to like work up to the booking ones, but also like brands are going to be picky about the bodies that model their clothing, their products, makeup, jewelry, etc. A lot of tattoos. I mean, I have a tattoo on my hip that's prevented me from some bookings and stuff. But yeah, so you want to be confident and either be willing to change, I guess, and be happy with that, or just be confident in yourself.
So have you been turned down a lot because of your looks? Do people tell you like you're not a good fit or
I it's hard because I fit kind of in between this scale here in Utah. I don't know if you've heard that Utah has like a specific look.
Oh, I didn't know
I
this.
hear all the time. It's usually like I don't know. They
I
like
feel
sell
like
their
that's so
hair.
true. I feel like it's so
Yes.
true.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
No,
It's
yeah, I
it's
haven't heard
definitely
it, but
true.
I definitely, yeah.
Yes. But then I also have been mistaken as like Scandinavian or like
Oh,
another ethnicity and I'm flattered by it, like I wish. But
yeah.
I just think that's pretty interesting. And also since being pregnant, that has been a huge bump. Like literally, but since I started showing, I have not booked many jobs. And one that I
Oh,
did
really?
book was for a bar where I had to hide my belly.
Oh, yeah. I think that's so inspiring that you're continuing to try and model through your pregnancy. Can you talk a little bit about how that's been for you?
Yeah, I mean, I wish I had better news. It's been really hard, especially because I have HG and so my symptoms have been pretty severe up until I was like uh 32 weeks. Yeah, like literally a week ago I started feeling better, but I struggled with the nausea terribly. I was losing weight because I couldn't keep anything down. I was like naked all the time because my body couldn't regulate a temperature. So I would be like laying on the bathroom floor with a blanket on me. Like, you just never know how your body's going to react once you go through pregnancy. So that was a rude awakening, and I don't think I'll ever do it again. But I have major props to all the pregnant women who can do who like have a full-time job. Like I had a choice that I could stay home. I just that's
Yeah.
mad power to you guys, especially if you have HG and you have more than one child. I can't even imagine that.
Yeah, I think it's so inspiring seeing you do it though, because I feel like that would just be so much of a challenge just trying to balance your hormones while still working. And so I think it's incredible. And I love seeing the photo shoots you do with your belly. They're so cute.
Thank you. I figured even if I don't feel my greatest, I would love to have the photos to look back onto, especially since we've decided I'm probably not going to have another child.
Yeah. Are
Oh,
you
you're
like
good.
full-time model or what else do you do?
I do model full time. I do have a secondary job where I do social media for a vintage bridal shop here in Salt Lake City. It's very part time. I only go in once a month and gather content to post throughout every month. But I also do some monthly content for a jewelry company here as well.
Oh,
So
cool.
I kind of do, yeah, a mix of social media and modeling. But modeling is the passion, so that's the goal and the priority to me.
Okay, I've been seeing you've been posting a few like UGC
Yes.
stuff. Is that like work you've booked because of
Yeah.
modeling?
Yeah, and since I've been pregnant, that's the jobs I've been getting. So I'll take what I can get at this point because I'm still trying to make some money.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, what are the different ways to make money as a model? Because I've seen that you apply to like fashion shows and castings and stuff. Can you talk a little bit about that process in trying to book work as a model?
Yeah. So there's a few different categories in modeling, and some people stick to like one, I guess. Like they could be known as the bridal model, you know. But there's obviously like this huge range of like there's lingerie, there's bridal, there's high fashion, editorials, and commercial beauty, like stuff like that. But commercial shooting is where the money is, cuz that's what's paying, that's what people are buying most of the time. This high fashion stuff, although it is expensive, it's somewhat unattainable for most people, I guess you could say. So high fashion, although it's more fun, although it's more exciting, there's like bigger names and stuff, it doesn't pay the bills quite as much. Unless
Yeah.
you're like Gigi Hadid or somebody like that.
Yeah. So how do
Yeah.
you find your commercial work usually? Are you signed with an agency?
I am. They haven't gotten me a job yet. It's a pretty small one. I did it non-locally because I personally think here in Salt Lake City, freelance is the way to go
Mm.
because all the agencies I've met with here, they take a percentage, and I since I have so many modeling friends that are signed with agencies, I've just taken their reviews based on their experience and stuff like that. I don't want to like name drop the agencies here, but there's just some that they make you pay for like schooling, which I have done previously in Indiana, and I think it's somewhat scammy, like for you to
Mm.
pay these thousands of dollars to be trained. And I feel as though I have the experience, so I'm not willing to do that, especially anymore. And which there are some things that are okay to pay with. I don't think an agency should ever ask for money from you, at least for training. Maybe like a portfolio or something like that. That could be maybe. But like I
Mhm.
went to Coco Russio's modeling camp last year in January. Best experience of my life. Like that was an investment.
That is so cool. I loved seeing your content from that and
It was
yeah.
so inspiring. Like I felt like I learned so much. It was insane. But
How did you get into that? Is that something you apply for?
the camp itself,
Mhm.
yeah. So you submit to it and they will just get back to you. I think Coco Russia herself like reaches out to you if I remember correctly, but um
Oh.
I personally don't see them turning anybody away. So I
Oh,
think if you
cool.
submit and want to do it, like they'll take
And
you.
so do you feel like going to that camp has helped you book more work?
That's such a good question. I don't want to sound like conceited because I'm really not. I'm not a conceited person at all. But I when I went there, we would like pull up our portfolios. She'd like review them, give you her feedback and stuff, and she didn't have any like feedback for me. And we had
Mm.
like her husband James would kind of go through teaching days. So when we're not like practicing the modeling and the posing and stuff with Coco, he would tell us like, the education part. And so what he was like teaching everybody, I was already doing. So
Oh,
I wouldn't say I learned much in that sense, but it was a nice like mind transition to be like, oh, I feel like I'm doing the right thing, so I'm not gonna stop. I'll just like keep doing it.
do you feel like it helped you in your modeling? Did you learn new things about
I
modeling and your
definitely,
technique?
I definitely learned more. I wouldn't say like for the commercial eye, but more for the editorial eye, which is my passion. But again, the commercial is the jobs that you book, so that's the work that I get.
Yeah.
So take what you will with that.
So, would you recommend Coco Rocha's program for more beginner models
Yeah, I would, yeah. I
for
think
someone who wants
anybody
to
can
get?
benefit though.
Hmm.
I I just I'm so yeah. I just have
Okay.
nothing but good things to say about
I,
that camp.
I'm like, I don't want to be a model, but like, I want to go to the camp myself. I'm like, it looks so fun. I just want to learn all these funky poses. But
It is
yeah, it's
fun
awesome.
and that would help you honestly with even posing people you want to work with too, which I'm sure you're great at posing people anyway, but they actually used to accept photographers too. I don't know if they
Oh,
still do anymore.
okay. Maybe I'll look into it.
Yeah. It's so fun. And also connections. Like networking is such a big part of the industry. I'm so
So true.
happy with some of the people that I met there.
Yeah. Yeah. I bet that's a great place for networking.
Yeah. So
So,
cool.
so how do you get your commercial work then? Do you reach out to people usually?
Yeah. So one thing, I keep bringing it back to Coco's camp, but like
I love it.
I just learned it there, but she recommends she has this like 100 list where you make a list of like 100 brands you want to work with. And what you're going to do is go through each brand on the list and personally send them a DM. So, what I have started doing, I was doing that before camp again, but I learned better ways to like phrase it and like
Mm.
have my comp card ready just to show them and then they're seeing my face and reminding me that oh, like she wants to work with us, like stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then they kind of like have you on file. And that's how you
Can
get added to model lists.
Okay. Can you tell me how you would kind of phrase it? Like, what are some things you would maybe try and avoid saying to somebody?
Yeah, that's tough. If you're
Mhm.
brand new, maybe don't have a ton of experience, I hate to say, but like sometimes you have to like work for free sometimes in
So
order
true.
to build, because you need that experience, I feel. So maybe you could, I mean, you should do some test shoots before so you do have stuff to send over to them for reference. So I guess that would be the first step. But then if
Hmm.
you have to, maybe offer one shoot for free and let them see how they like to work with you. If you're pleasant to be around and have on set and do what they want you to do.
Yeah, I think that's so good. And it just goes back to networking, like you were saying, because that's how you're going to build the relationships. And how you even said you started with that one hat company in Utah and it just spread and got you more work. And that's even how I started photography, really was working for free and just showing people what I have to offer. So that's really helpful advice.
Yeah, absolutely. I think collaborations are a really good way to benefit both parties too, because then you're both expanding your experience.
Yeah, that's so true. Okay, so what are your best tips about preparing for a photo shoot? Because, first of all, I love watching your behind the scenes of when you're just so in the zone, like your facial expressions, your body poses. It's so good. You can tell you're very passionate and talented about what you do. And so I would just love to know your thoughts on how you prepare for a photo shoot like that, like what you think about and just do to get ready.
Yeah. Oh, that's so sweet of you. So I guess it depends on what type of shoot it is, but um, typically you have that like persona you just like turn on at the flip of a switch, like when the camera's out. I just feel like a different person. Like, okay, it's time to work. But
Hmm.
if you're doing like a fun creative shoot, it's fun to pair like music. Music really helps like emote with like get in touch with your feelings. And say you need to portray like a really sad, like you need to shed a few tears, maybe just put on that song that always pulls on your heartstrings, or anything. Like you could be
So,
really excited, really happy, like punk, stuff like that.
do you typically think about things that make you feel that way? Like if you need to do a sad, more serious photo shoot, are you thinking sad thoughts?
And not to go that deep. I will if I need to, but
Okay.
I'm already a pretty emotional person. I'm pretty sensitive, like emotionally for sure, but I don't know. Music just really gets me going.
Okay. I love that. What are some of the tips that you've found that help you feel comfortable in front of the camera, either like working with photographers or doing your self portraits? What makes you feel the most comfortable?
Man, most comfortable. I don't know, just being, I think, confident in your posing. Like, if you're like scared, like, oh, is like this pose gonna look good? Like, it might not if that's what you're thinking. So you just
Hmm.
have to like send it.
Do
Oh
you
yeah,
practice your poses?
yeah, absolutely. I haven't in a while just because everything is so full right here and like stretched and tight. It's kind of hard
Yeah.
because I don't know if they know that I'm pregnant. I'm pregnant, guys. Oh yeah, we talked about it. Yeah, but normally I do, and I like to record it because that way you
Oh,
can
yeah.
look back onto it and see what you thought looked good, or maybe what you thought looked good, but maybe doesn't look so good, and learn from that. But also, when you do, I suggest doing it in front of a mirror so you can see yourself
Yeah.
either way.
What advice would you say to someone who wants to get into modeling?
Definitely the networking, and if you do the collabs or like pay the photographers to help do test shoots and start your portfolio, that's already you networking because you're meeting people in the creative community.
Yeah. Yeah, that's such great advice.
And
So,
we have Instagram, like you can DM people so easily and you don't have to always walk in and just slide your comp card on the desk, like your
yeah.
Instagram, if you make your own modeling like Instagram, that is your portfolio.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to ask you about Instagram and ask you what role has social media had in your modeling career because I just love following your social media journey and I seen you started a new series like showing brands what you have to offer, right? So I just want to know like how has social media helped you?
Social media is great. Like, I feel like that's how I started. That's how I was scouted for that shoe, and that's how I showcase myself and network. I've made so many friends through Instagram. It's crazy. And all the jobs I get through DMs on Instagram,
Okay. Wow.
especially as a freelance model, because you don't have that agent working for you, contacting the brands.
Yeah. Yeah, that's so good. So, what are you excited for? Can you share us? Like, I mean, obviously, having a child is going to be huge in your future, but what exciting projects do you have for this next year?
Well, yes, aside from having my sweet little baby boy, I'm so excited for, but I have a music video shoot I
Oh,
have in my back pocket. I'm excited about it. I've never done a music video before because I do more so modeling and less acting.
mm,
So we'll see how that goes. We were
that is
planning
really
it
cool.
before I was pregnant, but they decided they wanted me for the role, so we're just waiting till I pop this baby out and we'll get things rolling.
Wow, that's awesome. Would you love to do more acting stuff?
I think I would. I am definitely more confident in the non-speaking like modeling roles. I just feel like I'm kind of slow up here sometimes. So the speaking is maybe where I struggle a little bit, but we'll see. I'm open to it, and it pays pretty good too. So,
Yeah.
especially commercials.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. And I honestly feel like you would be so good in that. I feel like you have a very bubbly personality, even just
Thank you.
talking to you, and it would be good for a lot of commercial work, my opinion. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not a professional on that, but
Do you ever do like video work?
I love like cinema and aesthetic videos, but I'm so bad at it. I've tried. It's so
Oh,
different than photography.
yeah. I tried too. I just don't get how you edit it at all. Like TikToks are way different than like
Yeah.
cinema or like commercial videos and stuff like that.
Yeah, so like I dabble in it, and I did like a student made film. I made like
Oh,
one film,
cool.
but
Okay.
yeah, so I've tried it and I love it, but I would not say I'm good at it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I feel too.
Okay, well, before we end, can you just tell people where to find you and follow you?
Sure, I'll plug myself, okay. If you want to follow me on Instagram, that is my that's where I'm at. I'm usually posting on the daily, but that's over at a.maisie.ing. So it's just Maisie. And then TikTok's the same. I just have another G at the end. So
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Maisie. And I love the tips you shared. It's so helpful for me. And I'm not even a model, but I feel like this will help a lot of people who really want to get into modeling. So thank you.
oh, thank you for having me. It was so much fun.